Hey guys, what's going on? So today we are talking about this dude, Kristian. First of all, I just want to rant a bit about, I guess, 4-star advents in general, but mainly I've been having a lot of problems with Kristian. Also clearing it because he is very difficult, but the fact that even with a pretty optimized team it takes at least 15 minutes, more so around 20, and then there's always some fail by RNG chance, you know, it's probably about 85% success rate more or less by now. It was a lot lower a few days ago when I hadn't raised everyone, but now it's a bit more safe. That's not the point. The bad thing is drop chance for this guy, so I've done it, I would say, at least 12 times so far, so successfully cleared it, and on my 12th run just now, I finally just got the 3rd Kristian here. And I think that's way too low for something so difficult, especially considering you will need a total of 16 of him to get him and max out all of his skills, which I guess is kind of the point of these advent monsters. They are just generally better as long as they have a good skill set because you can somewhat farm for them. And so since most of these events usually last, you know, like maybe 2 weeks, having at least one guaranteed drop per day when you're doing all 3 of your runs, I think that would be reasonable, or at least getting some shards guaranteed if you don't get the hero, or with a chance to get the hero. That would also be okay, but it sucks so much. Like for the past 3 days, I've done all 3 of my runs, sometimes spending 1.5 to 2 hours on those 3 runs, depending on if I've failed or not, how many ever times, and then to come out with essentially nothing, because you don't get anything. You get some advent essence, you get some insignias, but that's obviously not what you're here for, so it's just a bit frustrating, is all I'm trying to say. It's not like I'm trying to ask to get free SSRs or anything. I did have to build an entire team for this. Rather, I had to build Nyx up completely. I had to really boost Claude's power more than I wanted to right now, but for this dungeon I did it. And also Ramoo and Rue. I got Rue from 1 to 3 and Ramoo from 2 to 3. And also gave them some better runes. And it's still insanely difficult, it takes a long time, and there is always that chance to fail. If they decide to focus fire one tank, you can't really do anything about it. If they get constant counter and multi-strikes all the time, you can't really do anything about it. But yeah, anyway, so that's the end of my little rant there. We're gonna go into the team I usually take, which is these 4 and a friend Claude. So I go double Claude, double support, and a DPS, which in this case is Nyx. Unfortunately, Nyx can't really have her full potential here, even though she does get 200% more attack because of the bonus, because she's the only one that can curse, and curse is very powerful in here, not only for her own sake and doing 80% attack to the target, but also because the enemies in here, I think most of them have a passive where if they're cursed, they'll take even more damage from dark types than usual. Honestly, right now I can't see this working without 2 Claudes. It just feels like they are needed. I have seen it done with only 1 Claude, so I know it is possible, but that was still with only 1 DPS. They had 3 supports, a Claude, and a DPS. So with 3 supports and a tank, I could also see it working, but in that case I may as well just take, you know, 2 tanks and 2 supports if I still only get 1 DPS. So that's kind of my thoughts on team comp there. I'm sure other team comps can work. You just kind of have to find out what works for you. This is what works for me, so I kind of stick with it, I guess. We can quickly go over my unit stats. Claude here, 17.6k HP. It's not a lot, but it usually is okay. I didn't know exactly what to balance between HP defense and HP recovery, but that's what I came out to. He survives decently well most of the time unless they really focus fire on him. 14.1 additional HP recovery, which is mostly good to keep him from dying too fast. Way too much multi and counter strike for this boss, because I hate when he multi-strikes after putting Damien to sleep. That is really annoying, and you'll probably see later he does that too often. But I also use him for arena, so I kind of wanted to not really mess with that. I did change one of his hero talents to decrease damage taken from bosses by 30%. This really helped. I only did this today, right before my 3 runs, and it really helped. So if you want to seriously farm this guy, I would definitely consider changing this. Of course, if you do have Claude, but all tanks can have that, so yeah. Decreasing their attack is also quite nice. It can turn a potential one-shot into a not one-shot. And of course, everything else in here is pretty general tank stuff. Rue again doesn't have the highest stats. I think she still has some, yeah, mostly +9 runes there. Probably not super optimized for this play specifically, but honestly the supports aren't really my problem. They always survive. It's Nyx and the 2 Claudes that die. all the time, because they love to focus on hitting Nyx just because, I don't know, she's the one doing damage. She's kind of squishy. Even though she has a very tanky set with 2 life sets and a defense set, I just figure she does so much damage in there that I would rather have her not die and then having to waste a revive for her and just make her do a bit less damage, but still good damage, especially if she can get off a multi or counter strike, because if I get lucky sometimes, she can pull out like 100k damage with, you know, one of her normal skills. But that definitely does require her to either multi or counter strike, because she needs to hit them once, get them cursed, and then hit them again to take advantage of the curse, her passive, and also their debuff there. But I have seen numbers go really high. I don't think she did any of that in my last run, but it was still decently fast and safe, so whatever. And of course, in her talents list is also completely focused. You know, we got increases damage dealt to bosses and decreases damage taken from bosses. So once this Kristian Advent is done, I'll probably change that to Arena and try her with the full dark team. That might be fun. And Ramoo is pretty much the same story as Rue. You know, she has a bit higher runes, but again, her survivability isn't really a problem. And then for the friend Claude, I just look for someone similar to mine, someone else who went for the decreases damage taken from bosses talent, because again, that really does help there. But yeah, okay, let's go ahead and pull up my run here and we can just kind of skim through it a little bit. I should have it recorded actually. Alright, yeah, so here was my final run. You can see I'm kind of checking the Claudes here, looking at their hero talents mainly to see if they have that buff. This one doesn't, it just has the arena. But I kind of talked about that already, so we'll skip a little bit ahead. Oh, sorry, I forgot to transition that. Probably everything I was saying there, we were kind of confused, like what the hell am I looking at? But, right, here we are at Alec. We have our team set up here. This guy's not too much of a problem, honestly. It's more so that he is kind of tanky, probably even a bit tankier than the other one. So honestly, I don't do anything special for this guy. I just heal when I need to. Sometimes Nyx will die, and I'll revive her with Rue, because Rue's revive is just kind of cool. It resets all of her cooldowns. She can use her third skill again, try and get that curse, maybe a multi-strike in there. Her second skill's pretty strong as well. I mean, his ultimate attack definitely does hurt, but I think as long as you, you know, don't try and be too hasty with it, you should be able to get through this stage without too many problems. So once you're done with that, you come to these 2 tanks here. They are a bit annoying, but something to keep in mind is they can be, you know, looming deathed. They can be mental sealed, just like every other normal mob can be. The problem is that if you kill just one of them, the other one will go absolutely berserk, doing their third skill every single time it's their turn, and that can quickly go very bad very fast. So on this run, I decided I'm not really feeling too risky or whatever, so I'm not going to try and looming death them. You do have to wait until their buff has gone up there before trying to looming death them if you're going to do that. But I decided not to because most of the time only one of them gets looming deathed, they'll die, and then the other one goes berserk, and it gets kind of shady at that point, and, you know. They honestly don't take too long to kill. They are naturally quite tanky, but, you know, if you can't apply looming death to both of them, then your run could end there, just because of how horrible the other one gets then. And finally onto Kristian himself. So this battle comes in 2 waves. First is just Kristian, then you kill him and he revives with full HP, and then he summons Damien, and that's when it actually gets hard. That's the hard part, which kind of sucks. I wish that wasn't the hard part, because at this point you've already spent 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes depending on, you know, your team comp and everything. And you know, then you die. so it kind of sucks. But so I kind of treat Kristian like I did Alec before Damien is here. He doesn't do anything super special. He does give himself this buff where he counterattacks and multi-strikes almost at a 100% rate. So I try not to attack with my supports during this time. I do still attack with my DPS unless she's very low health, because she's the only one that's doing damage there. I still do attack with the Claudes to try and get that attack down and to try and get the taunt, so they're not going after my supports or my DPS, because for the most part the tanks can handle the, you know, counter strike. They just sometimes can't handle his third skill. Alright, so Kristian is almost dead now. He has 73k, but you'll see that quickly goes away. Boom, right there with Nyx's counter attack. That was quite nice. But, so here we have Kristian. It's kind of bad. I always like to have Claude's third skill ready for this place, and I kind of do, but kind of don't on the friend Claude. So at this point, I believe I just kind of defend with Rue, kind of brace for impact, sort of. but he actually doesn't do anything here, as you'll see in a second. So I defend with Rue, but then I look down there at the turn order and I see that Nyx and then Ramoo go next, so they will have their sort of veil removed at that point, and I was like, oh well, what can I really do about that? So now Damien's gonna use his big attack, and you know, Ramoo died, Nyx died, Ramoo self-revived, so it's really just Nyx that's dead here. I revive her instantly, and you can see that was kind of a mistake. I got a little bit impatient here because then Damien counter-striked and then multi-striked, or I don't know if that was just his normal attack, whatever, and then she's dead again. Then I take a break from reviving her because I want to save Ramoo's revive for when, you know, someone else would need it. Because if Nyx is dead, it's not too big of a deal in terms of not dying. But if I were to spend Ramoo's revive on reviving Nyx and then one of the tanks died, or both of the tanks died, it's game over, for sure. So later on into the match, another Claude did die, and that's when I decided to use Ramoo's healing, or Ramoo's revive. One important note about this that I haven't mentioned yet is you need to focus fire Damien, because you cannot kill Kristian until Damien is dead. So there's absolutely no reason to ever have anyone else targeted until Damien's gone. So there goes Damien pretty much, and you can see Kristian's already at 1 HP, just because, you know, Nyx's AoE first skill is always hitting him as well. Sometimes it's not like that, sometimes he still has like, you know, 60-70k left. And on this run, the one I recorded, I did get one of my 3 current Kristians, so that was cool. But it didn't really help drive my point that you don't get enough of them if you have bad RNG. So yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. There's no real complicated mechanics going on there, I guess, unless I'm missing something, but I guess not, since I've done it about 20 or 30 times by now. You just gotta be tanky enough to survive those 3rd hit skills. You gotta... Come on. Why are you always crashing when I'm recording? Claude is obviously really good here, not only for the fact that, you know, he's just a good tank, but also because he gives you 50% stun immunity, which means you'll be getting stunned a lot less, and they can stun quite a bit. Nyx is definitely nice to have if you're willing to invest in her. She just makes the runs go a lot faster. Any DPS will do though, so I mean, if you just have like a really strong water DPS, that would actually be quite good, because Damien is fire and you'd have a bit of an advantage there, and that is the hardest part. Esna or Tayo. Esna would also help with the second wave with her mental seal, perhaps. Might be a little bit risky, but yeah, I'm not really sure what else there would be to say about that Advent. You do need to be very strong regardless of who you're taking, I would say, if you want a stable run. I'm not strong enough to do it like super stable or anything like that, and I definitely do rely on a strong friend Claude at the moment. It would be nice if I could take 2 DPS, someone that could curse. That would really bump up my clear times, but I just don't know. I kind of experimented a bit, and it just feels like 1 Claude, at least for me and my strength right now, it just doesn't cut it. 2 makes it a lot more secure. You can have 4 turns of healing from the Claudes, you know, some emergency reviving from the supports, and having another DPS in there would kind of mean twice as many chances for someone to get one shot and needing to waste your revive on them. But yeah, you can leave your own strategy for Kristian in the comments down below. If you found a good team, make sure to drop it down there. You can also tell me what you think about this video. You know, you can leave a like if you'd happen to enjoy. But yeah, guess that'll do it. Thanks guys, as always, for watching, and until next time.